If you've been going to the gym but not getting the results that you're hoping to achieve, hopefully after watching this video, you'll have a few tips and ways to sort of think through where to begin to help to get better progress or so-called gains from the gym. So let's just first start out. When you exercise, it needs to be intense and you need to focus on the compound movements. So, everything from bench presses, squats, deadlifts, power cleans, these are just examples of compound movements. I like to encourage people to focus on compound movements that they like to do. So if you like kettlebells, do compound movements with kettlebells. This can be, say, a Turkish get-up, although that might not be great for hypertrophy, but you can do swings, you can do hip hinges, you can do squats, you can do front-loaded squats, you can do all sorts of things with kettlebells. So focus on the compound movements that you like. If you're, again, struggling to get any benefits and you've never done any powerlifting or train like a powerlifter, that might be a great place to start. Although powerlifting may not give you the same degree of hypertrophy that, say, classic bodybuilding would, it's still a good way to learn how to do the major moves like squat, deadlift, and bench press, okay? Because these are key compound exercises that you should be doing if you want to get so-called gains or results. So focus on the intensity. Then you want to focus on protein and calories. So when you're new to exercising, you actually need to increase your protein content even more so than someone who's been exercising for a long time. There's a lot of increased, say muscle damage because you're new to this, increased protein turnover and churn. So you might want to strive for having around 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Now, if you're morbidly obese, you could look at, say, lean mass and things like that. But just to keep it simple, aim for between 1.4 and 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That's a great starting place. There's a lot of evidence to suggest this. Also, you might want to increase your overall calories. Again, if you're lifting hard and it necessitates increased calorie intake because you're trying to actually build muscle, that's another thing that I think a lot of people neglect upon because, they've been dieting, they've been yo-yo dieting and things like that, and they're new to lifting and they're like, well, I'm not getting the results. Well, increase your calories and carbohydrates around exercise, because what this can do is actually help you, number one, recover better from your exercise, but also have a better exercise session. So you're actually you're putting out more load, you're able to accommodate more resistance and more volume over time. And so that's another thing I think to think about. And then, secondarily, upon that, you can consider different supplements, but I think a lot of people gravitate too much towards, say, branched chain amino acids and focus. Oh my gosh, I'm taking this HMB and I'm taking BCAAs. Gosh, shouldn't I be putting on all this muscle? Well, you want to focus on food first, as I mentioned, because increasing the calories, increasing the protein, the quality of your food, making sure you're eating real food, not TV dinners and microwave dinners and these sort of things. So some of the carbohydrates that you could be eating, for example, if you're lifting intensely, could be something like rice. Could be, I get this forbidden rice in bulk. It's pretty affordable, about $3.99 per pound. You do want to look at where your rice is grown and things like that. Rice, for whatever reason, can sort of concentrate arsenic, but rice is decent. Also sweet potatoes, yams, some of those can be grown locally to you. And so you're buying more local, which I think is good. Butternut squashes now are coming in season, so tubers can be very helpful as well for getting a little bit more calories in around your exercise session. So again, you're hitting your protein, 1.4 to 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight. You're getting more calories in, maybe in the form of carbs or things like that after you got your protein going. You're doing the compound movements. Then you want to focus on maybe some supplements. And I like to encourage people to start to test for their levels of hormones to see. So if you're peri or postmenopausal and you're not taking DHEA, that might be a really good consideration because, as we've talked about before, women's ovaries and the adrenals are the source of androgen production. But after menopause, the adrenals take over. And if there's any adrenal insufficiency, circadian rhythm disruption, DHEA levels can be quite low in a lot of women. So I think that's a great place to start as well, because you want to give your body the precursors to be able to make the androgens that can help you recover and prioritize and build muscle. Okay, so that's something to consider. But this is not just for women, men as well. I find low DHEA and low testosterone levels in men in their 20s. I mean, this is quite common nowadays. So this is another great place to start before even considering bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So I have some links below to some different options for you through our sister company, Myoscience. But again, it's great to test before you go and just start taking any hormones, including but not limited to DHEA. And you want to look for your levels of DHEA sulfate. Okay, so that's something to consider. Now, when would you want to take DHEA and how much would you want to start taking? Well, I suggest taking it in the evening time, and about, for men, 10 milligrams per decade of life. And for women, it's only 25% of that. So you can do the math. Women in their 40s could do safely 5 to 10 milligrams. Men in their 40s could start at, say, 40 milligrams. And you can do the math from there. So that's something, again, to consider. Now, other things you want to focus on is sleep. A lot of people, they're working out at 5 in the morning and going to bed at 12 or midnight or 1 in the morning, right? And that's just not enough sleep to properly recover and to get the benefits from your exercise sessions. So make sure that you're getting enough sleep and make sure that your circadian rhythms are commensurate, with the rise and fall of the sun. So you're getting morning sunlight. You're getting some sun exposure during the day a little bit, maybe 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. During the middle part of the day, you're taking a walk and that sort of thing. And then you're also turning off artificial lights at night and improving upon your sleep hygiene and light hygiene in your home. So you're not on screens, you're not on tech and things like that in the several hours before bed. So one thing that you can do, and we've done videos on this before, is a lux or a light meter. There's a paid app that you can get this on your phone, but I recommend just going on Amazon. It's 25 bucks. I'll put a link below. And that's just something to, again, light actually has been shown to modulate hormone levels in both directions, for the better and for the worse. You get bright sunlight during the day, you can actually, full body sun exposure can improve testosterone levels, can improve feelings of vitality and sexual vigor and so forth. In contrast, light at night does the opposite. It has a suppressive effect on the entire HPA axis, all of your different hormones, not just melatonin. And so this is an important consideration for people. I think, again, I see people taking their pre-workouts that have 200 to 400 milligrams of caffeine at 5 or 6 o'clock at night. And they're wondering why they're not getting any benefits from their exercise session, why they're not building muscle. Well, good luck trying to go to bed at a reasonable hour, taking that much caffeine so close to your desired bedtime. So these are like simple things that we should be focusing on. But many people get into bad habits and they don't know where to go from there. And so caffeine too close to bedtime or even any time after 12 noon can be problematic with regards to circadian rhythm health and getting to bed on time. So that's another consideration. But what other supplements could be helpful for people that are exercising, prioritizing protein, eating enough calories, doing the compound movements, getting enough sleep? What are some things that you also might want to consider? Well, we talked about branched chain amino acids, and I sort of alluded to the fact that they may not be totally essential. I think BCAAs can be very helpful for people who are bedridden, for people who have an injury, for people who can't stomach protein, they have a hard time with protein. You can supplement, of course, with BCAAs to get enough leucine to increase muscle protein synthesis. Some of the data shows that a combination of leucine, isoleucine, valine with histidine and arginine can be helpful. So there's options out there for you. But I would prefer that you spend your money on, honestly, grass-fed whey protein concentrate first. That's because you're getting all the amino acids, and plus you're getting more cysteine, that can help with glutathione production. There's all sorts of different, benefits there, as opposed to just the BCA. So if you're going to spend money on one or the other, I would say point your dollars towards whey protein, not just branched chain amino acids. So protein supplements can help, especially for people that are on vegan diets, vegetarian diets, people that can't tolerate protein or get full quickly or things like that. But it's not totally necessary, and it's not like you need to have it right after you work out. One of the things that I've actually found a little bit of added benefit from is having raw grass-fed milk with a little bit of whey protein. And there was a study in elderly subjects that found that actually milk with protein or without protein can be helpful for individuals that are exercising. So that can be another tool. If you can tolerate dairy, consider adding a little bit of raw milk, maybe with some whey protein, some in these some odd hours after you exercise. Again, it doesn't have to be in your car as you're leaving the gym or your exercise session. It just has to be, sometime after. So that can be helpful. But I think, honestly, the two biggest things that I found to be helpful, recently turned 40, would be optimizing DHEA, making sure I'm getting enough intensity in those exercise sessions, getting enough volume over the course of a week, and hitting every major muscle group at least once per week, and having at least 5 to 10 sets per each muscle group. And so for legs, I hit legs twice a week, and overall for legs, including glutes and hamstrings, quads, everything, it's about 20 sets over the course of a week. So spreading out that fatigue over the course of the week and getting enough exercise sessions in there, I think, is another piece that is not really talked about a lot. Mark Bell has talked about this, maybe Stan Efferding. Other people have mentioned sort of spreading out the fatigue and hitting the muscle several times per week can also be another way to improve a lagging body part. I see people get a lot of benefits from that, as opposed to just doing chest or legs or back or whatever, just on one day, spreading the fatigue out. Doing 5 to 10 sets, on a Monday, and then another 5 to 10 sets. And of course, the reps will be different on those different exercise sessions. You wouldn't want to do 5 by 5 on bench press, and again, 5 by 5 the other session. It might be more like 3 by 15 or 3 by 12, or using bands or doing chaos or things like that. So, but again, the hormone element is really underappreciated. If your DHEA levels are low, for both men and women, it's going to be hard to develop the recovery and the androgens that will help with muscle protein synthesis if that is a factor. If there's insufficient calories for your associated exercise, and if there's insufficient protein, that's going to be challenging as well. So just wanted to give you a few different tips and tools. This question has come up in the comments and from other people. So hopefully you found this helpful. I'll put links to some of the resources below if you're interested. And as always, friends, if you enjoyed this content, thanks for that like button. Thanks for subscribing. Let me know in the comments below which of any of these factors, if you decide to implement these into your training program or your lifestyle, if they've been helpful and why. So as always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on a future one down the road. Bye now.